So we have a special election coming up in Tennessee on December 2nd. Democrat Afton Bain will take on the Trump-endorsed Republican Matt Van Epps. And I did a video talking about how that Van Epps had already said he would go to bat for Donald Trump and vote for the Epstein files to not be released. And if you go check out Matt Van Epps, he pretty much is walking right in line with Donald Trump, taking the marching orders and saying everything that Trump wants him to say. So this is a very important election. We really need to pull off this win in Tennessee. And I know that it's a very ruby red place. I know a lot of people are saying, well, Brando, why are you wasting your time on this one? Because Tennessee's ruby red. It ain't never going to flip. And I have people say that lives around me. There's people that are very like-minded who have just gave up all hope that things will ever change in Tennessee. But what I would like to point out to people is that people in Tennessee voted for Donald Trump again, and I know what you're saying. They getting what they voted for. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. But people in Tennessee did vote for Donald Trump again, hoping that he would go to bat for the things that they cared about. And since he has taken office again, they have seen the promises broken. And they see the promises broken when they go to the grocery store. Now, they can look down at that grocery bill and they can try to spin it every way they want to. They can try to say that, things are getting better, but they look at the receipt. They know the truth. A whole lot of people also voted for him again, hoping to see the Epstein files released and the swamp get drained, only to be told it was a Democratic hoax. Since Donald Trump has taken office, the farmers in Tennessee have absolutely just took a shellacking. They're seeing their lives be made harder than it's ever been. And more people are starting to break from Trump. Plus, in the last election, Democrats absolutely mopped the floor with Republicans across the board. So don't think that it can't happen here in Tennessee. But we really have to make it happen, and we've got to get Afton Bain over that finish line and defeat Matt Van Epps, because the last thing we need in Tennessee is another guy that's going to take his marching orders from Donald Trump. But I'm going to play you a clip here from Afton because I share this pet peeve with her, and that's when people says, well, they got what they voted for. Take a look at this clip, and then we're going to talk more about it.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for recognizing that Tennessee is a beautiful place, and there are people that are trying to do good work here. We have some of the best organizers in the country because we have to operate under incredibly oppressive circumstances. And I think my biggest pet peeve in politics is when people who don't live in the South say you get what you voted for, because this is not what I voted for. I didn't vote for the highest maternal mortality rate in the country. I didn't vote for the most dangerous place for workers in the country. I didn't vote for the highest inflationary cost of groceries in the country. But that is what 15 years of Republican supermajority rule the state has done. Tennessee has been bought and sold to the highest bidder, and those are multinational corporations in the billionaire boys club. There are no checks and balances, and what we are seeing right now is a rupture in their paradigm, because they have ruled, as you said, with an iron fist, and have squelched dissent and dissonance. And I think they're seeing now we're seeing the kind of rumblings, the simmering of perhaps a different paradigm. One of which is economic populism, and ensuring that the real villains are painted as the billionaire boys club and these greedy corporations that are pitting us against each other as we fight and not delivering for the Tennessee people.
I agree with every word of that, because it's a pet peeve of mine too. And listen, I understand why people say it. I especially understand why people who aren't from Tennessee says it. It's real easy to look over and say, well, that's what y'all voted for. You get what you deserve. But there's a whole lot of good people in Tennessee that did not vote for this. Number one, they never voted for Trump. I know so many like-minded people who for years have been fighting the good fight and trying to stand up for what was right. And then you had a lot of people that voted thinking things would be better. You also had a lot of people that voted just because Papa votes for Republicans. And I know that people outside this part of the world may not understand that, but in the South, following in the footsteps of your grandfather for whatever reason is something that a whole lot of people do, and they will vote along those lines just because Papa did it. Now, both my papas were Republicans, and I have never thought that way ever, because I had a Republican grandpa who told me to vote for the best person who I thought would be best for the job, and to not make it about political parties. He said that to me when I was a kid, and I held it with me. And that's why when I voted Democrat in every election, I've had cousins say, how could you do that? Papa didn't do it. Well, Papa told me it was okay. All right. He told me that I can go out there and I can have a mind of my own and I can think for myself. But I just don't think people realize in the South that a lot of people will just hold on to that tradition. And so they held on to that tradition, even if they didn't like Donald Trump all the way. Even if they weren't completely behind Donald Trump, they've been fed this line of bullshit, which is, well, at least you ain't a Democrat. And I know it's bullshit. I totally get it. But so many people have been fed that so many people went along with it. But now Tennesseans are suffering. Folks, I would like to talk to you about Chapter. Medicare is supposed to benefit seniors, but it can be so confusing. And with many agents chasing commissions instead of caring about folks, millions of seniors end up on plans that aren't right for them every year, paying too much or not getting the care that they need. And that's just wrong. Listen, Medicare annual enrollment runs from October 15th through December 7th. Even if you like your current Medicare plan, it's critical to look at 2026 plans or you risk losing coverage you need. That's because plans change every year and some just disappear. That's why I want you to know about Chapter. They're the only advisors that check every plan nationwide to make sure you get one that works best for you. Their help is free and they can review your options in under 20 minutes. If you're on the right plan, they'll tell you. If not, they'll help you switch. By doing this, they've saved people an average of $1,100 a year. So call Chapter today. Get it done fast and rest easy. You can reach them at 314-732-0423. Now Tennesseans are waking up and looking around and going, wait a minute, we are dead last and everything. Wait a minute, we are struggling to put food on our table. Wait a minute, things haven't gotten easier. And wait a minute, all these culture wars we've been fighting for Donald Trump have got us nowhere. And I know I talk a lot about the culture wars on my channel, and the reason why I do it is because I'm trying to drive home to the people in Tennessee that these things don't matter. Kid Rock blowing up his Bud Light does not matter, does not affect how you live your life in this world, okay? If you want to get mad at Starbucks or Target, just don't shop there again. You weren't shopping there to start with, so just stop. But look around and see what's going on. And in Tennessee, minimum wage is still $7.25, and there are still people dumb enough to go to bat and say that it should stay right there. There's still people dumb enough to say, yeah, that's a fair wage in 2025. And there's absolutely no one who could make it on that amount of money. It can't happen. It's not possible. And as our kids grow up and they go out into the world, they go out with all the hope in the world of making it, just like we all did. We all grew up, we all headed out into the world, and we said, you know what, we're going to make something of ourselves. We're like Travis Tritt, we're going to be somebody someday. And then you get out there in the world, and you have your kids come back to you, and they go, Dad, I can't make it. And I'm saying to them, yeah, because the math ain't there. There's no way that you can feed a family based on this income. So to give you all an idea of what I'm saying, yeah, minimum wage in Tennessee is $7.25. But in my part of the world where I'm at, where I live in Tennessee, I'm in California at the moment, but where I live in Tennessee, a good paying job, you might look up and find one between like 14 and 17 bucks an hour, and that would be like, whoa, you did really good. You landed a good one. That's how hard it is for people where I'm from. I don't think people fully understand that. So, yeah, we have had people over the years vote against their own interests for stupid reasons. But to say that, well, that's what you voted for, not all of us did. Not all of us were behind that. A lot of us have been fighting the good fight for many years, and more people are waking up. And again, there's a lot of apolitical people who just votes Republican because that's how they were supposed to do it, and because they really didn't think that Trump would do the things he did. And I blame the mainstream media for that one. I blame the churches for that. Because these people that don't tune into the news every day, they just tune in randomly right around election time. They look at the grocery bill. The prices are still high. They look at Donald Trump saying he'll bring them down, and that just sticks in their head. They haven't been listening to him the entire time like we do, and the only other time they hear about him is when they go to church and the minister's up there telling them that God lifted Trump up to do his work. And I know you think, well, that's got to be crazy, Brando. Go to some of the churches where I'm from in East Tennessee, Southeast Kentucky. The minister will get up on an altar and tell his audience that this man, this idiot, this scumbag was sent from God. And so that's another reason why they don't want to rock the boat. But there's a lot of really good people in Tennessee, and I have faith in them. I really do. I have faith that we can pull this one off and we can win this one. And so I want everybody that lives in Tennessee, especially if you're in District 9, but all over Tennessee, get everybody's attention on this one, get focused on this one, and get out there and make sure that Afton Bain gets across that finish line. Because, again, we do not need someone that takes their marching orders from Trump. And it's funny to me that he would still hold on to that at this particular point. To anybody who's even going, well, Papa was a Republican, maybe I'll vote for Matt Van Epps. This dude, as the ship is sinking right in front of his face, is still saying, oh, I can't wait to serve under you, Mr. Trump. So if you're pissed at Trump, over your farming situation, if you're pissed at Trump because the grocery bill isn't any lower, if you're pissed at Trump because he's protecting pedophiles, then get out and vote in this special election, and let's do the unthinkable. I want to be able to come back on here and say we did it, Tennessee, and then that will be a step in the right direction, and maybe eventually we can come out of this nightmare that we've been in for so long. It's hard. It really is. It's hard going to bat every day in Tennessee for what's right, because it is a blood red place run by a bunch of good old boys that I wouldn't piss on if it was on fire, to tell you the truth. That's a saying we have in Tennessee, and that's how I feel about Bill Lee, especially how I feel about Cameron Sexton, Andy Ogles, Tim Burchett. Wouldn't piss on them if it was on fire, but we have got to vote them out and let them go on about their day and get people in that will work for the people. And I believe Afton Bain will do that, so please get out and vote in that special election and draw everyone in Tennessee's attention to it, because the stakes, folks, are too high. And I don't know why I'm talking with my hands like Gavin Newsom. Me and a friend of mine was talking about that the other day, and I don't know why suddenly I started doing this, Steve, but I guess it rubbed off on me, man.